Okay. All right. So what we covered so far, again, just as a quick recap, we're talking about going back in time to figure out throughout your life, what are the things that really drive you, compel you, excite you, and these are, when you're thinking about what do I really want to do with my career and how do I want to cultivate my career journey and kind of do, become a master at what I do and even maybe move up in this career to different positions. The question is, what is it when you go back in time to your childhood that you really liked doing, you were good at, and you're always looking into? So here's some questions to think about. Just a recap that we just went over. The ownership question, is my dream really my dream? The clarity question, do I see my dream clearly? So that you can articulate that in one sentence. Um, the reality question, am I depending on factors within my control to achieve my dream? And what are my greatest talents? And how is that, like when you start with your talents and you know what you're good at, then
Right.
it's easier to move up because you're in your sweet spot. And so it's not a struggle, like always trying to, swim upstream without a paddle because it's hard. It should be easy. It should be something that comes naturally to you. So that's the reality question. The passion question is, am I always thinking about it? Am I even talking about it outside of work hours? I mean, that's, does it compel you to follow it and get up every day and you're just excited, about it? Um, the pathway question is, do I have a strategy to reach my dream? So then once you identify what it is it aligned with your values? Because if there's a conflict there, this is going to be a problem with health, mental well-being, which is, a big topic today. So it is in line with that. And then how do I have a strategy to get there? Now, a lot of people that I have met, they want to get to a place, but they don't have a plan for it. So the key is to be an accountability group or around people that, it's the people question. Have I included the people I need to realize my dream? Am I surrounding myself with the people who inspire me and who are honest about my strengths and weaknesses? Have I recruited people with complementary skills to help me on my dream? So the accountability groups are really, really important. And you can transfer that vision that you have to other people when you're talking about it. And it even may give them inspiration to pursue their right path. Sometimes people are just on the daily grind, going in for the paycheck, not really inspired to do anything other than just the status quo. And they may be unhappy. So, it's important to really look at that because you only live once. The cost question again is, am I willing to pay the price for the dream? What trade-offs do I have to do, to get my dream? For example, I am starting my doctoral program, and so I have to give up some things to make space. And part of that space is the mental health and being able to think outside the box. If there's too much going on, there's no room to really think. Um, and then every day, the tenacity question, am I moving closer to my dream? And then the fulfillment question is, does working my dream bring satisfaction? Do I really feel like I am fulfilled in what am I doing? Am I giving value to other people? What contribution am I making? Do I enjoy the pursuit of my dream, even if I fail? I'm learning something because I'm actually doing something that I like rather than just doing something to do something. So those are some of the questions, that I have for you to think about. And then the last thing is really the biggest question. Does my dream benefit others? Does my dream benefit others? This is the significance question. So people have success when they're doing something they like and they're moving up the ladder or they're becoming a master at what they do. But the significant question is, are you impacting other people, in a positive way? Thinking about, am I working to build a team or people around me to accomplish their dreams by doing what I am? Who are the five people I hang around with the most? And are they doing the same thing or are they kind of moving backwards as time moves forward? Because it will impact you. And then when you're thinking about your dream, think about 5, 10 years out, and your legacy. Like, what am I doing is going to help, someone else, even if it's just one person, even if it's just one person. So how do we go through this process? Okay, I'm going to share my PowerPoint and we're going to walk through some steps that you can take. You can work on this a little bit today, but you can definitely take this and work on it by yourself, and then we'll be talking about it through the next three sessions. So this is based on from the book that I just published, which is on Barnes and Nobles and also on Amazon. Realizing your public service potential, empowering career strategies for tomorrow's change makers. Really focus on the next generation of leaders in public service, government, nonprofits, service related roles. So the purpose of the presentation is really to slow down, reflect deeply, and rediscover the path that aligns with your values, strengths, and desire to serve. This is public service. It's not just about getting a job. It's about how are you serving others. So this is for people, whether they're just starting a career, navigating a transition, or seeking to renew their direction. But the story and the journey begins with your narrative. What is the story you're telling yourself? What is the story you're telling other people? How do you put that all together? And that's what we're going to do today. And the goal is for you not to work harder, but to work more strategic. And part of that's knowing self-awareness, knowing what your inner drive is and the foundation for a life with meaningful impact. So I have a quote in the book says, your vocation in life is where your greatest joy meets your greatest need. So this is the thing that people don't think about. Vocation, and it should bring you joy. It should definitely bring you joy. If it's not bringing you joy, then it's probably not your vocation that you're meant to be in. So how do you start with this? Well, here's the first part of the lesson, and you can take a few minutes to do this. Really thinking about and going back in time from early childhood to today, and you could put the dates on it. Like for my book, I start with third grade. In third grade, and think about monumental moments that really sparked your interest in your desire to serve. So third grade, my teacher, Mrs. Judas, said, I want you to stand up in front of the class and tell us what you want to do when you grow up. Like, very simple question. And when I was thinking about it, I thought about who I was surrounded by. Now, a good friend of my family, Dennis Gunch, he was a lieutenant detective for the Cleveland Police Department. And I would always listen to his stories, and I loved public safety, crime solving. I mean, I did watch the TV shows back then that were around. And I also loved community service. I liked all of that. So when I was growing up, I was looking at jobs related to that. And I could definitely go back to that time in third grade. That would be one monumental moment that I could remember that really sparked my interest and thought process of what I wanted to do. And then when I thought about just what I did naturally throughout school, like I always had the courage to make sure that people were always included. Community building was a big thing for me. And it wasn't just about being in one group. It was about bringing the groups together, and incorporating different people that were maybe outside of what the current group was thinking. So, and I can go through this. I did community service, in the Girl Scouts and the Brownies and, some other volunteer organizations. But I would say take a few minutes and think about 3 to 5 defining childhood memories that gave you joy or meaning. So I'll give you a few minutes to write that down. And if you have the dates, great. But if you don't, that's fine too. 3 to 5 defining childhood memories. Do you have those?
Oh, yeah, screen went
You have
black.
them?
There we go. Okay.
Okay. And this could go into high school as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be grade school,
Hmm.
college.
Okay. Okay. I think I got it.
Okay. Anything that you want to share? Do you have one that you want to share? You don't have to though.
I'll share. I was a all-state musician in
Mm-hmm.
1983, 1984. I mean, I excelled in music. I mean, I loved it, loved playing, loved playing with other high school musicians who are really good, just playing really tough music and really excelling at that. So that all the experiences were, I mean, those are life changing for sure. Um, and not only did I, did band and jazz band and orchestra in high school, I played some bands outside school too, just for fun. And a lot of my friends did too. Just played with friends, played in different bands. Um, in high school, I was the top math kid. Just that came really easy to me. Just trig and calculus and algebra, just like not a problem. Um, in fact, um, I was in a class of 525. I think I was like 15th in my class. So I mean, academics, not a problem. Um, and kind of different than your experiences. I mean, your experiences were others focused, and I think mine was more, accomplishments and just doing fun stuff with friends and not really surfing. I mean that the surfing bit didn't really come about until after college, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's
Yeah,
wonderful. So going back in time, you did what you enjoyed and
I did.
excelled at it.
Yeah,
Yeah, in two areas, music and math.
yeah.
And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about here because sometimes people currently are looking at what the environment has and they're just kind of applying to anything that's out there. But how you really get what you want is staying in the lane that you're good at.
Mhm.
And you have history. So when you're talking about it during an interview, you can go deep instead of just surface level.
Right.
So if they start asking you more questions and more questions, you'll be able to answer them because of all the experiences that you have accumulated in this area that you really, really love. Now, they may not have a position open as they listen to your interview, but they could possibly create a position for you based on your interview. And, when you have that kind of passion, people can see it, they feel it, they know the authenticity, and it could inspire them to actually create a role for you. So that's something else I wanted to add. If you go on an interview and you're talking about these things and maybe you're not hired for that role, just remember those people have heard what you've said and they don't erase it. So there might be something that comes up later, or they may know or meet someone that's looking for that and they can pass on your
Hmm.
resume. This happened once before. I applied for one job. By the time I was done with my interview, they're like, "You are perfect for this CEO job for this nonprofit. We are passing your resume over to that just because of the things that you've talked about." you know and so I end up having an interview with the other place as well. I had two interviews with the first place, and then I had another interview with a different place. So you never know, right?
Yep.
So this is one of the reasons why we do this exercise.
Hmm.
So when you're thinking about reflecting on your past, another part of it is the people that were around you. So if you can think about three people that really inspired you, maybe it's just one, that's fine, who really inspired your sense of service or your purpose. How did they influence you, and consider how these influences helped show up in your life today. So when you're thinking about these significant moments, think about excitement, when you were proud of yourself for something you did and they kind of helped through it. When you're in the zone, like you're doing something that you like and time just flies and kind of disappears.
Hmm.
Think about when these are just ideas, when you're drawn to helping others, something that you did, like maybe feeding the homeless, or something that is a very strong emotional pull or calling. That's when you know you're working in your sweet spot. Okay, so if you want to take a moment and just list at least one person who inspired you, that would be great just to add to your companion journal. Something on my website, it's in the companion journal. There's a link there. So if you click on the link and go to resources, it'll take you to a page. You can download this Discover Your Dreams worksheet. This you can do on your own. Now, here's a couple things I want to say about it. It's when I say, what do you cry about? And this is a lot of from John Maxwell. When I talk about this, what do you cry about? It's what gets you so excited, you know, when you're doing it that it brings tears to your eyes. I'm not talking about sadness, but joy.
Joy.
What do you sing about? What do you dream
Hmm.
about?
Sure. Sure.
What is the one word that describes you? And I would think about that because when you're in an interview, think about that one word that describes you. If they say, what is it? What value do you bring? Or, how do people see you? Think about that one word that you want to use that really describes you, like problem solver or, you know, um, mediator or whatever the word is.
Right.
And then what special talents, what are your special talents that add values to others? Like what have you done to add value to others? So anyway, there's 10 questions. You
Hmm.
can download that form and you can fill that out at your convenience. And some of these things will definitely apply to our next section,
Hmm.
our next
Okay.
session, because there's 4 sessions. Okay. Now here's a thing that I want to talk about. It's called a mind map. You can just create it on a piece of paper. You don't have to use the free versions out there. Mural is a free software, and I have the link in the companion guide. And you can just join for a free. I think they allow you to do it for 30 days. But you can create it and then create your own on a piece of paper. You can draw it, you can use Word, but it's called a mind map. So we're going to talk about how do you organize and how do you visualize and organize your thoughts around a current theme. For example, your future in public service, a job in music, a job in math, whatever that thing is at the center. And here's what it's going to look like. Okay. Now it may look a little bit different, but your story is in the center. Like your personal commitment to public service or whatever it's going to be, whatever your main thing is that you're going to work on. Okay? And then the next tier, and we'll go through each one of these. The next tier off of your story are what are your strengths that you bring to do this? What is your passion related to your story? What are the causes that you really care about? Who are the people that you want to help? What kind of issues are you drawn to? And your long-term vision. So here's some examples of mine. Strengths, problem solving, vision casting, strategy, career success coaching, and succession planning, mentoring, results driven. Okay. Then when I go into my passion, what's always been my passion? Research and innovation. I love it. Mentoring, coaching, connecting people, community service, crime solving, chemistry. I love the lab. Then the causes that I care about, public safety, solving crimes, restorative justice, that takes people from that are going down a path of crime and turning them around to a path of success. Community building. Who are the people I help? Government, nonprofit, people in career transition, students trying to figure out what they want to do with their career. Um, Fields that I'm drawn to, like I've talked about, peace building, science, public safety, community building, and then my long-term vision, I created the Career Successes Academy, strengthening community through faith, uh, helping 100 people a year with their career planning. So I've got a long-term vision, finishing my doctorate in a specific topic. So how do you go about doing this? Well, this is what you do. You start with your central idea that goes in the center. And mine was my public service calling. That was the thing in the center of the page. Once you write that down, then you're going to branch out to the next level, which are the 4 to 6 main branches from the center. Your strengths, your passion, causes I care about, people I want to help, field issues I'm drawn to, and my long-term vision. So let me go back to this diagram that gives you an idea of how it works. So I would say put something in the center, and then your story that relates to your story. And mine was a career in public service. And then go around and add these 6 things, your strengths, your passion, causes you care about. You can see them in the colors. So do that first.
Okay.
And then off of each one of those, you can identify at least one thing. You don't have to do many right now because I know we only have an hour, but in each one of those categories. So does that make sense that you've done? When you're thinking about under each of those main branches,
Mhm.
let's see, are there any patterns?
Mm.
So under each branch, you're looking for, kind of the things that you've written. You can add things too. If you want to add under each of the main branch, you can add
Mhm.
communication, organization, empathy, data analysis, whatever you're
Mm.
good at, whatever your strengths are. But then
Yep.
I want you to look for and highlight reoccurring themes, and then what they might tell you. So let's go back to this. So for me, I see, career coaching, research, public safety, community building. I see themes across these areas. So take a minute and just see if there's any reoccurring themes across the different main areas, and go ahead and circle them.
I do. Yep.
Okay, good. All right, and there's a reason for that.
Hmm.
Um, so when you think about this is just a very, like, the mind map can go on further with extra, you can keep going on and building off of each one of those things, but we're just going to do the general one. And when you're looking at that mind map, um, just take a couple notes of what's surprising, as a result of doing this, what themes or roles emerge. Just take a few minutes to do that. Making some movement in this area. Celebrate with courage all it took to begin, because this is not easy. Never lose sight of your calling, the thing that stirs your heart, the things that first stirred your heart. That's your calling. Keep leading with purpose, keep serving with love, and don't forget to pause and enjoy the view. You've earned it with hope and conviction, future me. So this helps people even look back. I've taken different courses where they say write a letter to yourself, and then 5 years later I'll read it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how far I've come since that original letter. So this is something to put away and look at it in like 5 years or so, even just a year. So you can take a few minutes to jot down some notes that you might be in your letter, maybe just like 2 minutes, and then we'll go into the final statement for the journey. And final thoughts. Um, in the guide, it will give you some things to reflect on, some
Okay.
other questions to reflect on, so you can look at
Mhm.
those. I do, again, the one-to-one laser focus coaching sessions if you want to follow up on your worksheet. And you can go to my website and just book a call from there. Now, I want to talk about the upcoming sessions. So, July 31st, align what you believe with what you do. We're going to go deep into the values in chapter 2 for my book. August 7th will be session 3, your strengths or your superpower, really trying to identify those and how you can use them. And then August 14th are career goals that stick and steps that matter. So how do you really assess, what you're doing and whether or not it's in line with, kind of where you want to go? What are the steps that are going to make a difference? And then the other thing is I do have a Facebook page that, oh, hi, Michelle. I just saw you there. I have a Facebook page. Let me just show you what that is. It's part of my Career Success Academy. And if you want to go in, I share some things every week. I'm going to start posting my YouTube Careers in Motion podcast. Sorry, Careers in Motion Public Service Edition podcast. So you'll be able to see that as well. So I will put that link for my Facebook in the chat if you'd like to join the community. And if you have any questions, so there's my link to the Facebook community. And then if you have any questions, feel free to schedule a complimentary session to follow up on what we talked about today and see how you can make those connections, sorry. So do you have any final thoughts or questions on anything we talked about today? I know we went over a lot, but I
Lot.
just thank
Oh,
you. Oh,
thank you.
do you have another? Thank you, Michelle.